let's say World of Warcraft, where if you're a higher level, then like the lower enemies won't like attack you at all because they know that like you're too strong. But this one, they're like, yeah, like we'll come after you, but you can use your special moves to weaken them before you get into the fight.
Yeah.
You can also like freeze time where they
That was
just kind of-
crazy.
yeah,
I was like, we're introducing new mechanics
Yeah, they
just
freeze
for
time.
this mode.
they freeze time and then they can't run after you, so you could just run away and stuff like that. So they added lots of cool stuff. They added new ways to do like to stun the AI enemies, right? You could stun them and you could do a punish counter when they glow white. So they added so much like really interesting things like that. It kind of reminded me of like all the stuff that your avatar can learn.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the CVS2 EX groove, where you just like stuff all these different grooves into one and make your custom groove, and that's like literally what it reminds me of.
Another thing to mention when you are in the world fighting things, it isn't like every single character is given the exact tool set of other Street Fighter existing characters. I would fight some rando level 1 salary woman, and she would have like a Molotov cocktail for some reason.
Oh,
And it would fall on the ground and leave a fire that would actually trip you.
Oh, so she got poison's V trigger.
Yes, there would be characters that have like rolls that just straight CVS2 roll through your ass, and I'm like, huh, that's weird. And characters get unique movesets, so I'm like, funny. Like, so there isn't just pulling from existing game assets, right?
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
like
that's some
Street
new
Fighter
stuff.
5, where they had when you did story mode and you had to fight Peter,
Yeah.
the cop, and he had his own moveset.
And all of the dolls.
DiCaprio, yeah, the dolls and everything. They had a different moveset, so it seems like they obviously added that for these characters. So like these are AI specific moves that you probably cannot learn as your avatar. But I mean, why would you want that when you can literally mix like so many of these other fighting styles? Like the fact that I saw the avatar did Kimberly's teleport into Zangief's SPD. I'm like,
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, thank God this is not gonna be thank God Zangief doesn't have this for reals, because I was like, crazy. He just teleports
you're-
and command grabs you.
Your character is Seth at that point.
Yeah,
Seth,
You're
yeah.
just grabbing every piece of a Street Fighter he wants. I was gonna say though, Justin, when you were describing how in the presentation they're showing how you can do special moves before a fight starts to weaken opponents, and then when they flash, that's their weak point. It just made me think that they thought about this really hard, where we
Yeah.
can't have your player character doing open combat in like an area that has physics and objects and everywhere. It's going to get complicated. It's going to fuck things up. So let's think of faster ways to kill enemies by locking them in a 2D arena, but killing enemies really quickly by giving you these advantages. So they're like, okay, we can't make the combat too like open worldy and where it's going to get, you know, really complex, but we can make it still feel a bit like beat 'em up combat where you have all these little advantages to get fights over quickly, because you don't want to have a 2-round match with salary woman
Yeah, that'll be boring.
Josie.
It'll be boring, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that would
and-
just be boring and a grind.
And then
so
that-
this is smart.
That introduces like the food aspect of the game, which is,
Oh, yeah.
covers a lot in the tutorial or in the chapter 1 of the world tour, where yeah, you can actively use food in between battle, before battle. I'm sorry, during battle and like before and after battle. There's different types of food that you can use. So if you want to recover life mid-match, you can. You know,
Yeah, that's cheap actually. I was like, damn, I was surprised that they're allowed to kind of
it's
heal
like
mid-match. Yeah.
potions. You know,
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Karaga type of thing going on.
It's,
Justin, if you're fighting someone in a tournament, you can pull out like a treat and eat it between matches.
That's what Daigo does. He when he plays finish the round, he just chugs a Red Bull. You don't see that? That's how he gets the power up.
That's how he gets the power up. Yeah, you can like, I don't know, just have a little meat stick in your pocket and
I'm
just
down.
take a bite.
I'm
You
down.
know?
It has to be
You
from
gotta
Japan,
take every.
though.
Yeah. It's just you can't fight hungry. That's a recipe to lose.
So that's,
You
okay.
know?
That's a
Snickers
Capcom
promotion coming
Snickers.
soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snickers
Yeah,
promotion
please.
coming soon. But when you speak of grinding, I do feel World Tour might be a really long grind. It seems like, because like you're gonna do a lot of shit in there.
It seems like they're putting a shit ton of stuff that you can do. Much less like how you're going to translate all these moves, how you're going to visit every single character and level up their moves to get to their, because ultimately like the big goal is to get their big damaging level 3 that
Yeah.
your character can do now. So you get to see your freak do cool level 3 cinematic, but also do freakish amounts of damage as a result of learning so much from non-freaks. You got to get those non-freaks in there.
It's gonna be crazy just because which they also mentioned that like I know, well, you all want to know about the DLC, and the DLC will also be part of the world tour mode when they come
Like
out.
you'll see these characters. That's cool.
Like you have to like go. You can learn their moveset, their lore. So it's pretty much like that world tour mode won't end until literally all the DLCs are probably finished with Street Fighter 6. So that's gonna be a long time because it seems like he mentioned he's like he wanted Street Fighter 6 to really be here for a really long time. So I mean, the chance of Street Fighter 7 within 10 years, maybe not. Maybe Street Fighter 6 might be here longer for 10 years.
If a patch goes out one day, or Capcom announces what's in the patch, or they don't, you could be like, oh, I wonder if anything, and then people will start looking, and they'll be like, oh yeah, new DLC character was added to the world tour mode. Like you can see them, talk to them, look at find out lore, but they're not like selectable yet.
Yeah.
What a cool way to get you hyped for a character in like an organic fashion.
It's like Pokemon.
Actual single player content, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's like
isn't-
Pokemon, man.
It isn't just like arcade mode. I go through, I watch an ending, it's done. No, now you can actually like learn from them, master their moves, master their abilities, go use them against other characters. It feels like they're trying to make World Tour an ever-growing element of Street Fighter 6 that isn't just like roster expansion, because that's what every fighting game is beyond its initial like development, outside of what has happened with like Guilty Gear and Mortal Kombat 11 with Aftermath, where they finally did like story expansions, right? Here's some new story shit that we're going to throw into the game. I give a little bit more credit to MK because you can play it, but in those situations, yeah, that's actually huge. And I think that was a huge deal for MK to expand a playable story mode, right? That the majority of people like the most about that game. So imagine, like all these characters permeating the roster. I'm calling it right now, and I was calling it earlier, that we're not just going to be going to India and Metro City. I think
We
later
going to
on,
space?
I think they're definitely adding other locales. I think they'll add
I'd like to think so.
other big areas that are like not just like one small fly over Japan and you arrive at Akuma's cave and he's cooking meth or some shit. Like we're gonna need some bigger expansion to that where we can actually visit a big zone and you can permeate characters in that. So maybe not year 1 with these 4 characters,
But year 2.
Year 2
yeah.
might actually have like a World Tour expansion, and
be
also
crazy.
here's all the characters in World Tour as well. I think that
Imagine,
just makes sense to me.
Yeah, imagine Gil
No,
comes
that's
back
good.
and then you gotta go to like the heavens. Like, you literally take a rocket ship, like use a ticket to go take a rocket ship to the heavens to learn from Gil and stuff like that. That would be kind of cool. It would be really insane. Did you guys see when so you can obviously fight your masters, right? Your first time.
Yeah.
And I just saw the avatar fighting Marissa, and I'm guessing your avatar is like level 1 versus level 999 Marissa, and the avatar did literally no damage. It was the most hilarious thing in the world. I'm like, how are you supposed to win this? Like, it's like an impossible fight at that point.
This all reminds me of Injustice 2. You know, Injustice 2, the content grind that was that game when it came out was like, I'm gonna fight the level 99 Joker piss shithead with level 1 Batman. Here we fucking go. Like, and it would take like 45 minutes. Yeah, it'll be stuff like that.
Oh, doesn't KI has that too, right? With like you have the conquering thing, right? You have to like beat people to get stronger to
Technically.
fight gargoyles in the end. Right?
Yeah, the
technically.
Shadow Lords. The eating the food reminded me of the consumables in Shadow Lords a little bit.
Pretty similar
Again, it all comes back
to KI.
to KI all the time.
KI. Did you guys see the truck? The bonus stage, the truck.
Yeah. So
Just truck.
Is that
Go ahead.
truck from Street Fighter 2, the animated movie at the ending of
Oh,
when
it should
Bison's
be
driving the
beep,
truck?
Beep. Are you? It only works if it plays
Are
corn.
you
If it- Yeah, if they somehow license the corn track for that shit, that'd probably be the most amazing bonus fight. It is in
Or-
arcade mode though.
Or at the very least, they have a little like cardboard cutout of Bison in the cab of the truck, and he's just smiling like he's driving it.
I'd love it.
That'd be sick.
To me, one of the nicest parts about this was that World Tour is not the compendium of single player content in the game. No, there's just arcade ladders. and you actually get story sequences for characters, and you can unlock
like a graphic,
some sort of like graphic illustration in the end.
Oh my god!
Isn't this really like? Here's the thing. Like, it struck me really similar to be like the arcade mode from Street Fighter V.
Yes.
Which like I hated because they were so weirdly short, and you'd fight randos that don't matter, or there's one match that's like one round.
Yes.
And it still had those story sequences that, admittedly, whatever the artist was that drew the ones that we saw in the presentation, the picture of Yin and Yang and Jamie,
cool, yeah.
I'm like, those look sick. Those look like more time was spent on them, because Lord knows Bengus had like a day to draw like 30 character endings.
You have 40 seconds to draw 4 endings. Go.
4 endings. Imagine.
I saw that you could change the amount of matches.
Yeah,
that you
there was
had
like
in
3,
it.
5, and 8.
Oh, really?
I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I'm
I saw it.
assuming 8 is gonna be probably the max. But the one they showed in the trailer, they showed off 5 stages.
That's better than 1 or 2.
It's better than 1 or 2, but what I hope that is like, maybe they're like, well, some people might not want to sit there and do 8 matches in a row. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but it would be cool if they could somehow make it so that if you do all 8 matches, you get like one extra special illustration or one extra frame to your ending. Because why are you what are you really unlocking if you're doing the 8 matches versus getting all of them, if they're going to let you select those in the final game, which I assume, because they showed off. But I was like, oh, okay, that I'm glad it's there, but again, I just have PTSD from Street Fighter V's story modes, or seeing Max or Justin upload like, here's an arcade run of like the new character from Street Fighter V. I look at the video and it says 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it's short.
Like,
I mean, I don't expect it to be hard. Like, I don't expect arcade mode in modern fighting games to ever be hard anymore.
Yeah.
But what I did appreciate just from looking at the arcade mode, because they did show like the beginning of like the cinematic, like you said, Yelling Yang, and then also the ending of some character. It was definitely like more like King of Fighters 15 style, where you just get a random graphic where it's just like, it looks really cool, right? That they're not, it's like random. Like the fact that they have Seth from Street Fighter 5, Manon, and Kimberly in a portrait is like, why are those 3 together? You know what I mean?
I saw that.
Then,
it was weird.
Or then Dudley is a barber giving JP a shape up. Like, stuff like that was like really cool.
For a second, because the colors were a little like desaturated there, I thought that because right next to JP there was Hugo or Andore, and he's like, ooh, he's like looking at him, and I thought, wait, what? Why is Andore? Is that Cody getting that grew out his beard? Luke, right? or Luke or somebody? I was like, who is that? And then it went away, and then later on I was like, oh wait, no, that was definitely had to be JP. It was just okay. These are a random group of characters are just having fun.
And even the background, you kind of see like, I mean, I know you guys don't like Rufus, but I saw my man Rufus in the poster, the back in that barbershop, so that got me hyped because I just want to see Rufus in the game.
It said no entre por favor.
Yeah.
The
No Rufus Club.
I will be kind of like the Debbie Downer in this situation. I think it is really cool that there's a cinematic, at least at the beginning of arcade mode, but it's still less effort arcade mode than like Street Fighter 4.
It is. Yeah,
Street Fighter 4 at least had like a beginning, kind of like a middle and an end. They had like, challenger fights where you can bring in other characters. Granted, we haven't seen absolutely everything, so that could 100% be there. But seeing that the completion of the arcade mode was just like, oh, you get a cool illustration, I'm like, buddy, give us a finality to their story or something like that. Give us like something as far as where the character's going, why they're here, it's like, that seems to be at the beginning only.
Yeah, because you're not necessarily going to get that, or probably not actually at all in World Tour, because the World Tour is about your character.
We're not at that full budget NRS shit yet, where NRS games will have like a full thing, with the ladder and then the proper like big cinematic, not cinematic, but moving illustration ending,
And they're really nice illustrations. Like they got more and more elaborate as time went on. Like in Mortal Kombat 9's, like they're okay, better in MKX, and like they were, really sick looking in MK11. So it would, but it's like, I was kind of thinking, since so much of Street Fighter 6 is cinematics, like in-game cinematics of characters talking to each other, I guess it is a lot to have then 50, 22, 20, no, 19?
Ooh, damn,
Yeah.
that
How
one
many
was
characters in the
It's
base?
18.
18 other cinematics for
Sure.
each character at the start. That's a lot.
Because,
But at the
like,
same time,
31st.
just an illustration or just like a little piece of art is also kind of like, yeah, just still very Street Fighter 5, still a little
Little
bit.
on the lower budget
Little bit.
end.
The error of having good arcade endings, that's gone. It's just not coming back. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look at like the other games besides Capcom, I know NRS is like the big dog because it's WB, but look at Guilty Gear Strive. There's pretty much nothing. King of Fighters 15 is just
And
illustration.
dude, Xrd had really
they're
cool
long, at
arcade
least.
endings too.
did. They
Xrd had
did.
like an intro. It had, I don't know if it had a middle, but it definitely had an intro and an outro, and they were like in-game cinematics. They were
I
sick.
I guess maybe for fighting game developers, they probably think like, not many people will probably do this. Like this, so
I guess
why should we add all this extra budget just for like a cinematic? Like because they probably think that everyone's
Yeah.
probably gonna focus on World Tour online. We'll just add a little
Yeah.
graphic picture and then call it a day. And I'm like, but those pictures are hot. They're freaking amazing. They also talked about. Well, I mean, they also added an incentive for arcade mode. You can actually speedrun it, and your times will be recorded.
That was
and
interesting.
and it will be on like the online leaderboard. So that was really cool because it pretty much gives somebody like, okay, you might not reach master rank or whatever the highest rank for online ranking, but you could be the best speedrunner for Street Fighter 6, right? So
Yeah.
they're giving more people more things to do to get their names out there for people to try. Because you can even do online leaderboard for the retro stuff, right, in the Battle Hub, and that's really cool too. I tried to do it during the beta. I couldn't beat the guy that got 1 million points in US version of Street Fighter 2. I'm like, bro, how did you do that? I don't know how you did that, but there was one
We
person
should
that
get him
did
on the
during beta.
podcast.
There was one-
Talk
yeah,
to that, interview that one guy.
I'm like, bro, like, you know, I mean, people know the secrets. People know how to attack characters and find the little patterns. So
Also, did you guys find it weird where they're showing footage of
get it, bro.
characters, and I'm like, oh, cool, the retro costumes, the
Yeah.
old costumes, cool.
yeah,
And I was like, why is it so violent and why is everyone so bloody? That's weird. And then
Oh,
as they're
yeah.
explaining it, they're like, we have a damage model now
Those bastards,
Yeah.
they did it.
that you can put on or put off, but it only happens in the proving ground, or is it like everywhere?
No, I think
No,
it's
it's
everywhere.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's online.
it's just like a visual option of like, do you want battle damage on characters? And
That's
they showed
so
this
weird.
like in TGS
Was it?
or something like that. It was a long time ago. It was like 6,
was it in
7.
the beta? Do you know if it's in the beta or
think
not?
so.
It was in one form of the beta, like it was in offline matches of the beta or some weird shit. If you did
Like
like
hidden.
if you did like tutorials in the beta, it was there and it was activated for some reason. And the first time we saw it was against when Guile was like first shown at like a Capcom event for their Capcom TV stuff. It was like in August. We were like, dude, Guile has bruises and shit. What the hell's going on?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they never talked about it at all, and it seemingly disappeared. It wasn't in any of the online betas, right? For you actually playing online in matches, it wasn't in any of the trailers. It was like, huh, maybe they just took it out. But they did exactly what I think anybody that is looking at this stuff would hope for. Granted, I just got done playing a whole bunch of Mortal Kombat 9, and my boy Smoke, at the end of any match, even if I do really well, this guy's eyeball is falling out of his head.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And I can't turn it off, man.
It's like this whole like side of his face is just like falling off, like the skin is just flayed. So
I won,
this
but I don't
always
feel like I did.
this always reminds me of looking at the behind the scenes videos of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, where they followed the crew around at NRS for a while, and it's some guy, I forget who the artist was, but he goes up to Ed Boon and it goes, "Can you really get all the damage like textures done?" And he goes, "Yeah, I could probably do all the characters in like a day or whatever." And then you see the two like damaged and undamaged versions, and it's just everyone's just staring ahead like in their T-pose looking fine. Then everyone's got their eyeballs like so comical and over the top, and you see like their skeleton.
turn it off.
Turn it off. And you couldn't turn it off in those games, but it was Mortal Kombat, so it made sense. But this is people that are like, I will never accept footage of Chun-Li with a bruise or blood.
Yeah.
Like, I will not accept looking at that.
Chun-Li's,
But then there's-
broken eye socket or something like
Exactly. But then there's some people like, oh, well, I want realistic damage. I want to look like my character's been that's gone through a war. Yeah, that makes sense
The
too.
throwback,
sense.
the
Yeah.
throwback to Street Fighter 2. You know, I get it. Like I completely get it.
Yeah.
But they did the best thing possible, which is you can turn it on and off. You just choose to enable or disable, and characters will have scuff marks and get all dirty and be fucked up by the end of it, even if you won.
It's definitely an option that they have a lot of on and off options, right? You could turn on and off the damage thing. Commentators you could turn on and off as well too. So they just, I mean, it's really impressive that how
you
far
motherfucker.
like Capcom is going with Street Fighter 6. Even like the massive tutorial modes. I was scared of looking at all those tutorial modes. There's a lot
dude.
because besides the in-game stuff like what teaches you the mechanics and the fundamentals, like there's even character tutorials.
Yeah,
like,
that
how
was
to learn
cool.
and I'm like, wow, that's a lot, right? And then after that, they have combo trials, and they have like I think 10 on each page, and advanced like 5, so that's 25 to go through. So you can spend like a really long time learning the tutorial, and then
if that
learning your
affects,
character tutorial, and then doing the
age
combo trials for your character. It's a lot of shit.
And it isn't just flavor text. I did the one for Ryu. There's at any point you can press like the start button or something like that, and you can practice it, so you can try it out.
Okay.
What they're showing you.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like it's cool to get like a breakdown of what makes Ryu Ryu. Like, why is this guy an all-rounder? And it describes that. It describes like what the fireball's uses are,
That's
why
cool.
he's good
Yeah.
at this, why he's good at that, and where his position is, which is like an all-rounder, good for beginners, but great for mastery type stuff. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much the best way to describe it. Some people were like, there was a moment where I was trying to describe why low forward is good, by hitting people with like the tip of your foot. So it's literally trying to describe like footsies in an actual dynamic way, which is like, oh, you use low forward because that's his longest range normal. And you use that to whiff punish. You use this to poke. You use this. It doesn't use those terms, but it's trying to convey that message. Did you guys see how I think it was World Tour, there was a mode or a part of the game's functionality that was trying to teach you about punish countering, because the new counter system in Street Fighter 6 is different. If you counter ahead of time, it gives you a different kind of counter. If you punish somebody, it's called a punish counter. So pretty much like the crush counter state of the game, right? But it applies to anything. In that friggin' trailer, characters will flash white after they do a move. And if you collide and hit them after flashing white, you get a huge reward in single player stuff. So it's teaching you about gameplay fundamentals. This is how system mechanics work. This is when you want to punish somebody. It just imagine that there's no flashing white anymore when you're playing against people. And I'm like, they're doing it. I sat there and clapped like the dude from Rudy. I'm like, they're doing it, man. They're teaching
You
people
stood up and everything.
They're teaching people how to play the game through its story mode. I don't believe it.
With the big casual mode.
Yes.
And like, we're teaching you even if you might not know it. Because as soon as you said that, when I first saw that mechanic explained, I was like, oh, that's a cool extra thing for that mode.
That's how the game works.
And it didn't dawn on me until like, no, that's actually a thing you can bring with you in 1v1 like tournament player or whatever. Yeah, that's really brilliant. I'm not sure if anyone's gone to that lengths before.
No, I can tell you no, because as someone that has exhaustively researched fighting game like story mode stuff and how they actually go about it, and made a couple myself and worked on them, no, it's tough, man. Like, it's been weird to not have a cinematic mode that actually teaches the player how to play your game. They usually gloss over it really fast for cool action set pieces and shit. So I think that's why this World Tour mode thing is probably going to continue into other fighting games as well, because it makes sense. I think this method of doing story mode stuff with like sporadic cinematic elements, they're going to be there, but it's not going to be like full, you're just watching a fucking 4-hour movie. Instead doing this, where you actually have a lot of gameplay stuff in between, then cinematic elements, or you do something like Grand Blue does, where you have like a dungeony side questing sort of like going through and leveling up your like that stuff's great, man. That stuff's great for single player content. I really hope that's the route we go for the future of just single player elements. We don't need everything to be an NRS story mode, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's also really kind of amazing for at least for Street Fighter 6 for World Tour mode, because I mean, I don't count Street Fighter 5, but this is kind of like the first time where it's like you might learn a shit ton of lore. about Street Fighter characters.
Oh, it's the only
'Cause I-
time ever.
Yeah, because I
Like-
feel like because every other time Street Fighter is just arcade mode, and then you get the little story whatever. But this is like it just seems like it's just so in depth. Like it could have been its own game. World Tour mode like at this point could have been its own game, and then yeah, that's what it seems like.
I didn't see if this was. I felt like this was in the game, but I wasn't 100% sure. But I hope there's like some type of glossary or encyclopedia that you can press
Ooh.
pause or select. It'll bring up, here are all the characters that you've met.
Yeah, that'll be
Uh,
cool.
Max, I don't know if you played this game called Hades, but when you press the codex button, it brings up all the characters you've met, and every time you've talked to them, it adds a few sentences. No, you haven't played. Okay, well in Hades, but I hope that because you can get all across all that lore in a non-expensive way just by text, and people love Street Fighter characters so much that they'll accept and be fine with just text. Give me something about Carlos Miyamoto or Chun-Li or Bosch, whatever. And you don't have to have a big long cutscene explaining it, and he doesn't have to like go into his backstory and explain it all to you, but maybe there's some sort of, they mention a gallery, right? When you get the illustrations, maybe there'll be like an information style section to the game, and I'd love that actually.
And speaking of gallery, they showed so much like fashion stuff in the
A
game.
lot of fashion.
Like the clothes and everything, and in my head I'm like, man, Capcom could actually like make this in real life and sell the crap out of it. Like the first guy, he had the Ryu button down with the Shinku Hadoukens. You seen that?
I didn't see
That's
this.
Nakayama.
Yeah, Nakayama. He was wearing a
Yeah.
Shinku
Oh,
Hadouken
right,
button
yeah.
down shirt, and I'm like, I want that. Right, first of all, but they really showcase a lot of fashion because I think like, sneakers is such a popular thing, and they went really hard with showing sneakers in the shop. Showed a lot of Jordans and everything. They really like kind of want that young audience. Maybe that's another reason why they had Zelina Vega and Lil Wayne, because they'd be like, man, I could look like that. I could dress like that. That looks so sick. Looks so cool.
Justin just gave me a vision of the future. We are sitting here, all of us, witnessing the 2026 Street Fighter Grand Championships, right? It is in a real-life looking battle hub. They have recreated the battle hub in real life. Blue, crazy
set.
stuff. The set. All of the people populating the battle hub are hired or audience members dressed to look like in-game
They're
characters
freak.
wearing their costume members, and also horrible monster creatures that look like freaks cheering and berating their heroes and villains to the morning come. Like, that is the perfect situation. What's this? The prize pool will be $10 million because Street Fighter
let's
6
go.
has sold 10 million units sold by that point. That's a possibility, man.
It's just insane, just kind of like looking at everything and like the amount of stuff you can customize and buy. They even have like random stuff like photo mode. You could take a photo with like the characters in the game in World Tour mode. Like there was a time where the avatar took a photo of Lee Fen, and I'm like, so you could just take selfies with
You
all
take
the
selfies
masters
of your
and the
adventure.
characters.
That's cool.
That's like really cool. It's
Dude,
like, it's little things like that helps.
It was. I already got a taste of that shit because I apparently took like approximately 30 to 80 selfies with people unbeknownst. And I was like getting pictures on Twitter. Some dude's like, and I'm sitting here at the machine, like playing,
Oh yeah,
and my
I
character's
had
like,
that too.
like, are you taking a picture of me? So it's fun. It's fucking funny, dude. It's weird how it's like weirdly mimics real life and type shit.
No, yeah, I think it's just gonna be insane because I think the one thing that they didn't really show too much about, what we saw the first trailer like a few months back, was kind of like the bonus levels. I know they had the truck and
Yeah.
they had the basketball perfect parry.
Extreme battle stuff was also
Yeah,
technically
extreme battles. And they didn't show like kind of like the pizza cutting where they teach you how to do
Oh,
motions.
yeah.
the
The
eating
food
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
The eating stuff, because like that's pretty much they're trying to teach you how to throw a fireball by using a pizza slice as like the main thing.
That's all going to be
Right.
flavor stuff throughout like World Tour mode, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. So
assume, yeah.
so they had that. You mentioned extreme battles, and there seems to be more extreme battle modes that
There's
they
a lot.
that they have there, but we haven't seen in the game yet.
You can in the demo you can see what they are, but you only get to choose two.
I
So
see.
there's like fight conditions and then modifiers, and the modifiers are this
Yeah.
big list of wild bullshit.
I love that in the extreme battle like list, there's just this one option that says no gimmicks. And I'm like, why am I here?
Why am I here?
Why would I go to extreme battle?
It
No,
loads
nothing.
Up, it loads up versus mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just sitting on an arcade cabinet right away.
If you go into that extreme battle hub and you see one guy that's only playing no gimmicks all the time, you're like, I'm never gonna fight that guy. That guy
he's playing by himself at that
too
point, right?
serious.
So-
he is beyond my level.
I got a question to propose at the end before we talk about the big last piece of information that they dropped, which is essentially DLC characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was not in this presentation that you guys might have been looking forward to, or did everything essentially come to fruition? Because I think I got at least one that didn't happen that I really hope happens in some way.
I have one, but yeah.
What's
I'd
yours,
like to
Matt?
hear. Mine is just a general sense of what the storyline even is.
Yeah, okay.
Is JP the villain? We're assuming he is. I don't need it all explained and like a big 2-minute long cutscene, but just something like they could have started the presentation with, like, in World Tour mode, you're trying to take down JP's syndicate, or there was very little of that, and like just something.
And I
like,
can back up that when you fire up the mode, they do give a little bit of flavor to it, but it's mostly like, yeah, this city was super fucked up before, thanks to Mike Hagar. It's not as thanks to like late Mayor Mike Hagar. I don't think they mentioned anything of his untimely death.
did they say late?
They said it was like former Mayor Hike
Okay.
Magar.
Look,
So it's
listen,
not-
he's not coming back, Matt. He's not coming back.
Magar.
He's not coming back, bro. Like he's dead. We don't need any more grapplers.
He's
in
He's
the
like-
game.
not
okay,
current
is he-
mayor.
There's too many grapplers in the game already. Okay, Matt.
Is he dead, or is he Dave Lang dead?
I can't. Well, he couldn't visit his memoriam. His memorial
It's
in the game
so
to read
weird.
it.
Okay.
So-
What if JP captured Hagar and you have to actually save Hagar this time?
I would love that. I'd save him. I want him to be the damsel in distress this time.
There you go.
But
that could be it.
But that's
in
really
terms
it.
of-
Like it's super basic, where it's just like,
Okay.
but it's still, the crime still runs the streets, and after the Mad Gear gang was
Crime
driven
always
out,
runs the streets.
it's still like the city needs to get cleaned up, which is where the buckler sort of like security comes in, which is what your character is a part of and what Luke does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like his militia group, I guess.
It's his homegrown militia group.
That's getting dark. But yeah, in the general presentation, I just thought, like, well, it's kind of weird. Again, if they're trying to do more of a casual presentation and just like, a little bit of like, what are you doing
Yeah.
in the game, aside from just like, fighting? But that's really, really minor. There wasn't the food stuff Justin mentioned. I was like, yeah, that wasn't there. Oddly, it showed the little food icons, but it didn't really explain those mini games. But again, really minor.
You can just
but
eat
nothing
it.
really
That's it for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to, I guess, for me to find something that I'm missing, because I was just so excited. Like I've been excited. We're all been excited for Street Fighter 6, and they showed so much World Tour mode that it makes like probably every casual more excited, because they haven't seen or played something like this from Capcom since like forever. But I would say I don't remember if they talked about like different online modes with people. Like I know you have your rank matches, you could play your avatar matches, you could do lobbies and everything.
Casual.
But is there like, because I know Street Fighter 5 had it. Like I think that was pretty cool that they had it. They had it like Street Fighter 5 tournaments where you can win like custom prizes from like avatars or like kind of like
They
titles and
did
stuff like that.
say they'd have
They
events.
mentioned. Yeah, they mentioned events.
Yeah,
And they did
online
show
events.
how actual player matches work outside of like just pairing up in a lobby or something like that.
Yeah.
And they ultimately are way more functional MVCI lobbies. And MVCI
Yeah.
lobbies were great. They were really good. It seems like just way more customization and what you can do inside an actual player match to get people to fight with each other and spectate and do all this stuff. So it seems like they're really prioritizing, because that's how the majority of tournament play online is going to be held. So it seems like that was a priority, or they want to make that stuff really smooth. That's cool.
Yeah. Another one just strikes me is that, like, for retro costumes, they didn't really mention like are those unlocked from the start? Do you need to buy those with drive tickets?
Good point. There was no mention of how we get them.
Fight money.
Maybe
like,
they're still thinking about it. Maybe they're still thinking about using fight money. Because I know in Street Fighter 5, if you did their whack story mode with just like 2-3 fights, then you just get
whack story mode.
You just get their story mode costume, right? So that was like
that was
like their thing, and it was whack for sure. But I think maybe it'll be similar. Maybe that's why there's a difference between three rounds, 5 rounds, 8 rounds for arcade
that'd
mode.
be cool.
Right?
That'd be a really good reason.
It gives you a reason to complete 8. You get a new costume, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot like, maybe Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct or a couple of games where we have legacy characters, you unlock their retro costume, but we have new characters, therefore you get like Kimberly's like red overalls and her hair put up in the ponytail and everything. So they have like an alternate costume. Jamie's alternate costume is like super sick. Like I would not
it's like a
even
jacket,
take his
right?
default.
It's like a giant
it's
jacket, yeah.
cool
like a puffy
puffer jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. But like again, I thought some sort of mention of that, but that might be more of a hardcore fan thing. Like, I'm not sure if a casual is gonna.
I mean,
like,
I guess I think the point of it was like they showed that there are going to be classic costumes. Or
Guile
costumes
did look
in general.
good.
Guile's
Chun-Li. I love
Chun-Li
how
great.
glossy her dress. It was so glossy.
Ken's
glossy and flossy.
was weird because Ken didn't have like the tattered shoulders that Shotos usually have. I was like, what the hell?
It's true. I think that depends on the game that he's in, because sometimes he does, and I remember other times he doesn't. But it did seem weird.
I just think Capcom just forgot how to.
They just
do
forgot.
Ken.
Yeah,
I think
they just even Street Fighter 5 Ken Classic was kind of like I don't know, right?
To me, there was one thing that I was kind of disappointed with that did not make it into the game, and I think that there's absolutely room for it to be expanded, if not added upon, at some point in the future. But there is no jukebox mode. There is no way to change music.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that was going to be the case, and it seemed like some of the UI was setting up for it, and we actually see how it works in the demo. And it's like you could choose a random song, a stage song, player 1 or player 2. And I was hoping that was going to go even further to like, alpha music or this or that or that. But it isn't.
Maybe in the full game, the DJ booth might have that functionality added to it.
Maybe.
Yeah, there is a DJ booth, but it actually makes sense. If they don't put it
seemed like the big departure of the music styling of the game, which is a very big departure in general, which is a good thing.
True.
I was thinking that they were going to essentially counterbalance that with the fact that, you want the old music? Well, here you go. We're just going to Smash Brothers it. If you want to have it, here it is. But it doesn't seem like it.
I think they want to move on. They want it because if you listen to the tracks like that Capcom's been posting on Twitter and social media, they're really, really different. Like there's barely any resemblance at all. Like I just listened to Cammy's like the other day, and I'm like, the sound like if I didn't know what the tweet was, I'd be like, oh, this is from Tekken, right? That's what it sounded to me like. So, like, they really are trying to have a new identity with like music and the characters. So it's possible that they're trying to move on from Street Fighter 2, from alphas, like all that type of stuff.
It's really hard because these characters are from countries, right? And there's very few other franchises where, like Mortal Kombat, no characters have their own music. There's no theme of Liu Kang, right? But for Street Fighter, it's just like, I'm Ryu, I am from Japan, I'm a martial artist, I'm the eternal, like, there's these themes that go with these characters. And even Tekken, even though, characters are from certain countries, there's not like an overall Jin theme or something. There's really good Jin themes, but Street Fighter always has this identity lock to it. And in Street Fighter 4 and in Street Fighter 5, they're just like Street Fighter 2 again.
Yeah.
But different remixes.
Just remixes, yeah.
And I applaud them for doing something different. All the tracks are garbage.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, they're not garbage in terms of their production, but I'm like, this means nothing to me. This music for this character.
I agree.
They feel so different and far removed. Like, if you like, I listened to the Cammy track as well, and I'm like, this could be any character. But then again, I don't have an answer. What is Cammy supposed to sound like?
It's supposed to be dun 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 dun. But I kid you not, like, after listening to Ryu's I think that was the first one they released, and
Yeah.
like the direction that they're going with it, I just anytime those like tweets came out, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not gonna listen to it because like I don't
just
want to
get angry.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be disappointed. I know there was like the whole debate people talking about on Twitter, like, oh, wow, it's so good, it's so fire, and then there's other people. Yeah.
A lot of people feel this way, and that's why
Yeah.
I really thought they were just gonna do a jukebox mode where you can just assign. You know, give me, hey, anytime we pick Ryu, give him his Alpha 2 theme. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. You know, maybe it'll be DLC. I think that'll be 100% a worthy $10 DLC or something like that.
I'll
if you
pay
just
for
have
it.
the ability to swap out those tracks.
Imagine you get that as an unlock for doing all 8 matches in arcade.
Incredible.
You beat it with Ryu. You get Ryu's
You get their
Third
music.
Strike theme.
Jeez,
Get their music of those.
that would be amazing. Capcom's take this for the future. If we beat arcade mode and do stupid completion things, we unlock classic character music that we can assign to their tracks. That would be amazing.
I mean, King of Fighters 15 does that. You beat it with
Yeah.
a specific team, you unlock a specific game, and everything like that. And I literally don't listen to any King of Fighters 15 music. It's all replaced with 97, 95, 96,
Yep.
random Metal Slug, stuff like that. Like it's just so hard to kind of replace the iconic stuff. You know, it's like if you have classical music, you're not going to replace the classical music with new classical music, right? So
Yeah.
people still use classical music as a reference. So why should we get rid of our classical Street Fighter 2 stuff? You know, I mean, I want it to stay.
Of all the problems the game could have, and this is barely a problem, mind you, the music, but it's the least important one you could possibly have. If something had to be a little lacking, and again, they're in an impossible position. I have no answers for you about what they were supposed to do. And almost anything that was new, that they're like, let's just have a fresh sound for Ryu. It's no other fighting game has this problem, I feel.
I'm gonna have to go through all those tracks and listen to them individually to feel
Do a tier list.
Make a tier list, Max.
I'm gonna
Make
have
a
to
tier
do
list.
something. Rate the music, because I remember really not disliking a lot. But Ryu's definitely was dang, jazzy NYC Ryu is what I got out of this. And in the same way that Third Strike was really different in terms of character music from previous games, this also feels really different in a different way. So once again, I just have to listen to everything in Compendium and pretty much judge how I feel, because the music is about feel, right?
It is feel, yeah.
Because even Street Fighter 3 music, except for Jazzy NYC, maybe one or two other tracks, its music didn't get really, really good until Third Strike, where every track was a fucking banger.
Yeah, I have a criticism of new gen and Second Impact's music, where everything just kind of sounds boom boom beam boom 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 beam beam boom boom. It has this sound to it, and everything sounds really similar. And then in 3S
Alpha.
they changed that.
Alpha, everything sounds similar, but it's good.
But it's better.
It's
Granted,
better, but
it's
it all
not
sounds
bad.
similar.
I'm not actually saying it's bad. It has a lot. It feels very homogenized of how most of the tracks sound, and then you get some crazy ass Gil theme that sounds really different and unique, right?
Yeah.
In 3S, at least every character sounded wildly different. Chun-Li, and then Ryu's theme is so different. They sounded some tracks sounded bad and odd, but they really stick in your head.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the case for this game. You just have to give it time.
It's hard.
Nobody liked Marvel 2's music when it came out, bro. Nobody did.
I still don't like Marvel 2 music. It's not the best. I mean, I still prefer Marvel 1.
It's not the best.
Marvel 1's OST or X-Men Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, all the other Marvel games had great OSTs. And look, that's why the Marvel 3, when they came back, they gave the characters their OSTs back and not just random stage music, right? They knew that the Marvel 2 stage music was probably trash. I mean, there's some really good ones, I know the Clockwork stage, that was really cool and all, but I wouldn't replace it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fair enough.
Because when we did the music episode, you guys, I agreed as well. It's Marvel 2 music is trash, and it was trash for a long time. But then people came around to it in terms of it's funny. No man, this soundtrack's fire. Shut up.
Now people like it.
Now people like it. And I get that.
People really I'm gonna take you for a ride loop times infinite.
Yes.
Yes, because memes exist.
Memes exist.
It became a meme.
I mean, It is like that little cat meme, or the little rainbow cat. What meme? You know what I'm talking about?
Nyan
Nyan
cat.
cat.
Yeah, Nyan Cat.
But yeah, I mean, I hopefully
Marvel
music,
2 is the Nyan Cat of fighting games.
Yeah, it might as well be.
I'm Blue. Abu D Abu Dai is now nostalgic and comforting. When it was stupid as shit, even when it came out.
Yeah.
So
how do we feel about the season 1?
yeah,
DLCs?
so this is the last bit of information that dropped was
That's probably like the really crazy one.
yes,
Dude,
all 4 characters.
I was blown away. Like, I never thought it'd be these 4 characters ever.
We wouldn't have seen this a year ago. Clearly not.
Yeah, there's no way.
Rashid?
That's crazy.
The funny thing is, I was actually talking about this before they announced them, and I said, I think if they start talking about DLC, it's probably going to be a bad look. I think even like a month before the game comes out and we're already talking about DLC, is that a bad look? I'm like, it might be, especially if you show like some early like teasers of them, like they did with like Luke and Luke and Ryu in the very first teaser. But I think the way they handled it was smart, where it's just like here's art, here's who we've committed to, and there's also the acceptance that this is who it is because you already know who it is. They've been leaked for nearly a year now.
Hardcores at least.
Yeah, exactly. So the way they handled it was with a bit of tact, where you know they want to get you excited that these characters are coming. But if there was any hope that they might be like soon after, if not immediate, no, they're not. Like 4 characters.
It's a long time, yeah.
Which is again good. That's the way to do it. Unlike Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where it's like, here's 6 characters that are literally finished.
Sure. It looks like they're approximately every single
Quarter,
three months.
Quarter.
About 3 months after everyone, and that's a healthy amount of time for a character to release. Like going beyond 2 months in a fighting game scape can be an extended period of time. So we got Aki, who is coming out. Actually, I'm sorry, Rashid is the first one. He's in summer. So he is going to be
pretty quick,
relatively soon. Like he might be the quickest online.
Like August, perhaps.
It would have to be by August, right? So that's like a month and a half to 2 months. Cool, that makes sense. And then Aki is sometime in autumn. So before
October to November,
most likely is when we're going to see her. And then Ed is sometime in winter, and that's like, you know, winter all the way extended till like February. February to March potentially. And then Akuma is spring, so anywhere between like March to May. So
that was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, that's crazy. Akuma is like next year.
He's like a year. He's a year away from now.
You got to keep people on the hook. You got to keep people on the hook for Akuma.
Mean, but even then, even his look looks so cool. Like the fact that he has full white hair and everything now.
It was different than what was leaked before, where he had a big red mane as he usually does.
Yeah, he looks different now.
I think there was a white streak or 2 maybe, but now it's just full on white. And now I'm like, oh yeah, Dragon Ball AF style.
He's looking Shin Akuma-ish.
Yeah, he looks like he finally made it to Shin Akuma. Imagine he just shoots double fireballs now. That would be crazy. Like that.
This is a game where you can do that.
Yeah, that would be
crazy.
Akuma
level 4. He gets the red chest hair and gets black hair again.
Yeah. So I think Akuma was cool. Aki is obviously really cool because I love seeing new characters debuting in Street Fighter games or fighting games in general. How do you guys feel about Rashid and Ed though?
They're gonna have to make Ed fucking actually cool.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna have to do something to him to make him actually interesting.
I was just like, man, another blonde male character
that
again?
punches.
That punches.
Only.
Yeah.
Like
his design is significantly better. I'll give him that.
Give him Cody.
His look is significantly better. I'm looking at it right now. And Rashid, I think his redesign is also really cool. But this isn't the most powerful initial like DLC roster. If you were gonna choose the right characters that are gonna like start off your DLC season, Akuma is like the most easiest.
He's the one. Yeah, he's the one.
I would have thought you would have gone and started picking out characters like Sean and stuff like that. I thought
Sean's not coming back, man.
I thought we would have started visiting some characters like Makoto, characters that did not make it into Street Fighter 5, right?
5, yeah.
But they're not. Like everybody here except Aki is a returning Street Fighter 5 character, and Aki is a brand new character, seemingly derivative of,
The
you know,
Fung.
Fung, right?
Yeah.
Might be loosely connected to the crazy claw guy from rival schools, right? There might be some connection there.
That would
So-
be crazy. Yeah.
And granted, year one is only 4 characters, so 1 every quarter. It's not like a 5 or 6 character like DLC pack that comes out relatively quick, like an NRS style. This is spread out. This is definitely. Here's what's crazy, and this is the only bad news I get out of this, because it is great that they officially announced it. I think that's a good call now. It'll be a year from now before we even get the inklings of what will be actual new content that we do not know about.
That will be exciting.
would
Just
be
as you were
exciting,
saying it, I was
yeah.
like, oh,
Yes,
yeah.
like actually getting Street Fighter 6 content that we're not privy to. That shit has not existed for a long time, dude. We've known everything that is going to be in this game for nearly a fucking year, man. And now they have finally announced all of it, and we have to wait for it to come out, and it won't be out for another year. So we have to wait till like no shit, like May-ish of next year to even. Is Dudley coming back? Like, is Makoto gonna make it? Like,
it's a
we
good
don't know.
timeline. It's a good timeline for sure.
If you could
yeah.
make one alteration to the DLC lineup for year one, what would it be? Like you swap out one character for one other.
I'd definitely not do Ed at,
Yeah.
like, at all.
I think
And
I would
replace
want,
him with who?
I think I would want 2 brand new characters and 2 returning characters.
So I would replace
okay.
Ed with like Makoto, straight up.
I'd replace to get everyone on board. As much as I love Makoto, for myself, I'd swap out Ed with Sagat. I think that would be.
I think we're all swapping Ed. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I swap out Ed for another Punch character, and I swap out Ed for Dudley.
okay.
That's
I mean, Makoto's
me, though.
kind of a punch.
Dudley,
Makoto's more than
Dudley
punch.
needs to come back. I mean, everybody's been dying for Dudley, but
I would love to see Dudley in this game's place.
I just want to see a brand new character.
I would love
brand new
Dudley,
characters.
who's like grossed out by all the hip hop stuff, and he's like, no, keep it classy.
Yeah.
And he's just like he's unchanged.
Yeah.
He's not like, he doesn't have like the hip hop style clothing like a lot of the other characters kind of have, like a little bit of like
He's even
swag
more
to
proper.
them. You know, he's even more proper. Like he's in a tux.
Nah, he's
My-
not proper anymore because like when you
Why?
look at the illustration of the ending, Dudley's giving a haircut to JP. His arms are all rolled up, and he has
yeah.
tattoos all on his arms.
And that's
Really?
exactly why I think Dudley might not even make it into this game until way down the line, because they already have their proper gentleman character. It's JP.
yeah,
That
so
character archetype, even though gameplay totally different, right? But thematically, like element-wise, yeah, that character already exists. It's JP. He's new.
Dudley
that
might-
JP
yeah, he might have
alternate
been content.
costume. See that where he's got like that snakeskin pimp coat on?
Oh yeah, we saw that. Yeah.
It was awesome.
He might have been. Dudley might be going to the Ken route. He's on the run.
We got to
He
start
lost
thinking
money.
of like what characters are unique and don't have existing playstyles and aren't thematically already represented in some way. I think
Yeah.
any fucking Shoutout is on the bucket just because Shoutouts just sell copies of the game. They always do. They're like Mortal Kombat ninjas, okay? So Akuma is clearly like a huge bait character, which is why they're releasing Akuma in the exact same
Yeah.
time frame they released him in Street Fighter 5.
So-
It works.
So in season 2, get
that one
Alan
was
Snyder
tall as
in
fuck.
there, and everyone
Oh.
will line up.
Oh, we forgot to mention that. They specifically talked about in-game clothing items that are crossover and then showed
Collaborations.
They showed the Robert Garcia outfit while talking about the collab stuff.
Ah.
So there will be unique character costume accoutrements that will be relevant to other collaborative fighting games.
Yeah.
Collaborative moves.
Yeah. I mean, I can
Terry's
Rising-
jacket, bro. Terry's hat.
Rising Dragon.
Yeah.
they even have Lilith's sticker on the laptop of Lee Fin.
Yeah, I saw that. It was a really cute laptop. But yeah. Now that Max said that, I am absolutely, after that year is up, like, oh my god, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, God.
And then bam, leaked on Twitter again.
Leaked on July 2023.
Yeah, that'd be so sad.
Oh boy.
Slayer.
I think I'm holding crouch too early. Man, I forgot there wasn't an option for infinite ammo. Unless I missed it.
Game over.
Oh, I could have looked for bounces since I have the wireframe. Might actually look around Relic after this.
Slayer.
Oh shit, I forget if I'm supposed to tap forward or what. I think I just land in the spot. Yep, I knew I was gonna slide off. I went too high, too fast. No. No. Fucking Master Chief. Oh yeah, that's way too fucking high. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Wish there was a consistent way to not bounce off. Okay, I'm gonna just try and jump from as high as possible. Nope. You wanna be slightly lower. Dude, the fucking bouncing's stupid. there we go. There's like an animation where your legs lock up. Oh my god, I tried going too hard. What the hell? I don't think there's any other spots.